Can you kind of elaborate as far as kind of like the benefits of this deferred sales trust? We'll get into kind of the additional nuances, the kind of the flexibility and stuff as far as using both of those strategies.
Yeah, and so back to the premise, most commercial real estate owners or even business owners, they struggle with capital gains tax when they go to sell their highly appreciated asset. And we use a deferred sales trust to give liquidity, diversification, tax deferral, and the best thing is optimal timing, the ability to buy back into real estate at any time, all tax deferred with a new depreciation schedule so they can create and preserve more wealth. So let's compare that to the 1031 exchange. 1031 exchange does do tax deferral, and it does allow you to buy investment real estate, but it doesn't give you a new depreciation schedule, and it doesn't give you optimal timing. So the biggest one is optimal timing. If we generally know, Dwaine, as commercial real estate professionals, and so do your listeners, we generally know when it's a seller's market and when it's a buyer's market, right? And given enough time and given enough space and margin to look for deals, we can find deals in any market. But the challenge becomes when you're faced with that 45 identification period and 180 days to close. Or even when perhaps day 170, all the properties fall apart, it doesn't work out, the lender won't lend, the seller won't deal, and you just don't want to overpay for that property, right? And so the deferred sales trust solves that, in that we don't have to move the funds into like-kind property. You can put it into stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And then the key is you can invest it back into commercial real estate at any time, meaning tomorrow, day 181, or 5 years from now when you find a deal. And that's really the key to this. My journey is back in Marcus and Millichap. I saw in Sacramento particularly, it was one of the hardest hit cities in America for the crash. It was a huge boom and then a huge crash. And so in the 05, 06, 07 market, a lot of people were trading properties in 1031 exchanges, and they're really happy to get that offer, let's say for $2, $3, $4, $5 million. And they're excited to be a seller, but then all of a sudden they had to turn around and be a buyer. Why? Because they felt they had no other choice except to defer the 30 to 50% in gain. And so what happens is you end up, generally speaking, what can happen is you end up overpaying for a property. So the first thing is optimal timing and overpaying. The second thing is taking on equal or greater a value, which oftentimes means equal or greater debt. Okay, and that's where people really got hurt in the 08 crisis, is really how much they were over leveraged and they overpaid, and they didn't find value add deals, or perhaps in your world, it was single tenant assets where the corporation just went, bankrupt, and they had no one to pay the rent, right? And it's a single tenant, so they weren't diversified. The deferred sales trust solves that in that we pay off all the debt at closing, and just the proceeds go into the trust. So we call it the debt-free plan for your commercial real estate or business. And now the proceeds are sitting in liquid, diversified portfolio. And the diversification can be multiple things. It could be multiple commercial real estate syndication deals. It could be multiple commercial real estate deals that you buy on your own. And it can also be stocks, bonds, and mutual funds of your choosing, which creates an opportunity, again, to diversify versus being in a single asset in a single location and typically a single product type, which, as we also know, the United States there's different markets, and some places are buyer's markets, some places are seller's markets. It's ever changing. It's not just everything's a seller's market and everything's a buyer's market, although generally speaking, we would say it's more of a seller's market today more than ever. But that being said, if you can diversify, let's say, a $5 million asset into 3 or 4 different product types with different geographical locations, and have the timing is unlimited, you give yourself a competitive advantage to find the right deal so you can create and preserve more wealth. So I'm going to pause there because I said a few things that may have some questions on.
You have just listened to another information-packed episode of Capital Gains Tax Solutions with Brett Swarts. We hope you enjoyed today's show and found it helpful. Visit capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to access the show notes and to access more resources. Don't forget to leave a review and join us again next time.